All right, I think that might be a little bit better. All right. If you guys can hear me, can't hear me, let me know. But sorry about that. Not really sure what's going on. Some technical difficulties here, but appreciate you guys being here, jumping on and asking any questions that you might have. Today, I'm going to definitely make sure what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I timestamp this for anybody that's going back and rewatching here. I'm going to go over my rankings for every single position while also answering your questions for start sit. So let me make sure I am all set and good to go. And let's roll right into it. So let's attack a couple of questions first, and then we'll roll from there, and then we'll kind of just start answering. Or, well, oh, man, I am discombobulated. I gotta say, guys, I cracked open a beer after work today before I jumped on. Oh man, I needed a beer today. It has been a long day. So it's been a long day for you. Cheers. Appreciate you being here with myself. I am on the struggle bus today, as you can see. It's been a long day, and then of course the technical difficulties here. Not the best either. But we'll get through it. Appreciate everybody that's here tonight. Happy Days is in the house. Albert said, "What's up? What's going on?" Let's go to Jared Fortin first. What's up, buddy? Said, good evening. I'm struggling here. Mason or Kamani Vidal. Mason has Jones back. Vidal basically backfield is his. Also, would you play Golden or Hollywood over Waddle this week? PPR. Yeah, I'm rolling with Waddle. The targets have been there as long as he's healthy, Two is healthy. They're in a dome, right? We know this offense performs better when they're in good weather. And so I have Waddle right now as my wide receiver 17. So I would start Waddle. That's the easier answer here. As for the running backs, I have Kamani Vidal as my running back 20. I have Jordan Mason at 21. I have Aaron Jones at 22. I would start Kamani Vidal. I think there's a chance Van Ginkel doesn't play, which I think is a definitely a nice bump. I also think we're going to see points tonight in this game. A lot of sacks, but a lot of points. That's just kind of how these Thursday night football games have gone. So I would start Kamani Vidal. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's an easy decision though. It's kind of just a best educated guess. I know he's going to, no Hassan Haskins, so we know Vidal's going to get the majority of the work here, if not all of it. And I expect Jordan Mason to be involved. I'm sorry, I expect Aaron Jones to be involved. Jay Dab said, "Happy Thursday Night Football. What's going on, man? Good to see you." KJ Frederick said, "What's up? Need to start two Mason, Rashad White, Rico Dowdle." Yeah, I'm starting Rashad White and I'm starting Rico. Love the matchup for Rico against Buffalo. Buffalo's defense has been pretty bad. I have Rico Dowdle as my RB 17, and I have Rashad White pretty high as my RB 12 against the Saints. J Dab said PPR, half point, tight end premium, Flex Gadsden, Ertz, JCM, Josh Downs. Yeah, I'm definitely not going with Downs or JCM here. I'm going to go with Gadsden. I have Gadsden. I'm a little bit lower on consensus on Gadsden, but I still like him a lot. I have him at 7 this week, which is crazy enough to say that's below consensus, but it is. So I have Gadsden at 7. I have Zach Ertz as a nice play too. He's 14. You can expect Mariota to get in there. We'll see if the other pass catchers are healthy, but it's also a Monday Night Football game. And so Jane Daniels not playing, but we don't really know about the other pass catchers 100% just yet. And if those guys are down, then I could see going Ertz, but I'll go with Gadsden. I do want to temper expectations. I have him at 7, but I have Kate Otten ahead of him this week. I could see a world where look, he's been extremely good, but there's also a lot of pass catchers in this offense. And these some good linebackers for for the Vikings. So but I like Gadsden. I would go with him. Let's see, what do we got here? Appreciate the chat. We got Tyler in here, Astro. If you guys aren't already, come over to YouTube. It's much easier. It helps us out too as well. Come on over to YouTube and ask any questions that you have if you're ever on Twitter, but I'll still answer some of them on Twitter, of course, but just help support the show if you come over on YouTube. Matt Tate, what's up, man? Good to see you. It's been a little bit. Said, thoughts on Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt or Juwan Jennings this week in PPR? I'm pretty low on both guys. I have Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt at 28. That's I have Chuba Hubbard, Tyler Algier ahead of him, Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson, Isaiah Pacheco. As for Juwan Jennings, I have Juwan Jennings at 32 against Houston. I think I would go with Juwan Jennings. I mean, the RB28 versus the wide receiver 32. RB28 is like is a flex, and yeah, wide receiver you could say the same too, but the ceiling is much higher for a flex wide receiver than it is for a flex running back. So I'd feel more comfortable with Jennings. Astro said, "Would you roll Bills or Chargers? I have a bad feeling about the Bills. Also, would you play Shakir over Scary Terry? Also, Rico Mason. Yeah, I would still go with. I'd still go with the Bills. I like the Chargers. I talked about them. They have a good matchup next week. It's a good stash defense. But I would still go with the Bills. But I get the hesitation about the Bills too. They're not a great defense, but extra weeks rest plus Andy Dalton back there. And I don't know. I mean, Andy Dalton didn't look great last week being thrown into it. He's a good backup though. Having a week to prepare should be helpful for him. He'll definitely probably be better, but I would still go with the Bills. Shakir over Scary Terry. If Terry's playing, I'm going with Terry against Kansas City. I'm fine with that. And then Rico or Mason Taylor, I'll go with Rico Dowdle. I like Mason Taylor. I know he's got Cincinnati. And Tyrod. If Justin Fields is still on the football, I'm not as confident. If Tyrod is, then feel a little bit better. But I'll go with Rico. I love Rico's matchup this week. Don't know the name here, just golf guy. I'll just say that. Start Gadsden or Waddle in PPR. I'm already starting Fannin, so weird to start two tight ends. It's going to be a week where a lot of people are starting two tight ends. So I'm good with it. I prefer Gadsden over Fannin. And I would say that I prefer Waddle over Fannin. So I would bench Fannin. I would go with Gadsden and Waddle. That's me. I think Waddle's the guy you have to start here though. And I think Gadsden is a little higher ceiling with a little more target competition, so a little sketchier in that regard. Where Fannin, you're probably going to get a consistent 8 to 10 points unless he pops off, but you can at least get about 8 to 10 with Fannin. Let's see. Luck Stinge said Bills or Bengals DST week 8. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I have Bengals at 4 this week. Feel pretty confident about it. I talked about the sack risk rate this week, and I like them a lot. I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I know it's kind of sketchy because it's not a great defense, but I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I'll roll with them. I'll die on that ship, which is a little sketchy. Now Jared said the hammy issue for Waddle. Yeah, I think he's gonna play. I think he's fine. I think he's gonna play through it. We'll see. But it's definitely something to monitor. I thought there was a chance he was gonna be out a couple weeks, but it seems like he's good to go from what I read. But we'll see. Yeah, I would go with Pacheco over Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, Jonathan. Diggs or Dobbs, PPR. I want to say Diggs, but let me check my rankings here really quick. All right. So, I have Diggs at 23. I have Dobbs at 26. So I would go with Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs gets Cleveland. And you have Romeo Dobbs against the Steelers. I prefer Diggs. He's getting a really, really nice target share right now. So I would go with Diggs. Justin said 2 quarterback league, man. I have 4 quarterback darts on my bench. Need wide receiver so bad. Should I trade Dart for Nico? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, if you're telling me you have 4 quarterbacks and darts on your bench, your quarterbacks are probably good without me even knowing here. I would trade for Nico. Diggs and Otten maybe, but I would go with Nico. I'll ride with it. It's a little riskier, because the offense is worse, but I would go with Nico. Joshua says, I've got Pickens, Sutton, Johnson, and Egbuka. Worried about the questionable tag for Egbuka. Should I start Johnson tonight to be safe? Which of the others sits? Yeah, I mean, Egbuka played last week. He's only questionable because, he's still dealing with the hammy, but he had no setbacks. He played the whole game, didn't come out of it, and there was no new report that he re-aggravated it. So I think it's just really precaution, and that's why the tag is up. So I think he's going to play. Johnston's sitting on the bench for me. I think he could have a good night tonight. But I have Sutton as my wide receiver 6 this week. I like Pickens' matchup against Denver at 14. That's where I have him at 14. Riley Moss, that's the one archetype he's kind of struggled with, is the Pickens kind of player, which is kind of similar to T. Higgins in some ways. So I would sit Johnston. I think Igbuka is going to play. And I have Igbuka at 7, so I'm not sitting Igbuka. Sean Forrest said need 2 wide receivers in a flex: Olave, Devonta, McLaurin, Jalen Warren. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely starting Olave. I have Devonta Smith at 20. I have Terry McLaurin. I don't even know if I have Terry in my rankings. I have Terry at 49. If he starts logging full practices, I'll have him higher. Yeah, I think Terry would be the guy I bench here, though. When it's all said and done, I would be benching Terry. Um, yeah, I would bench Terry. Yeah, I'd bench Terry. Zach Linton's in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Matt said Fannin, Schultz, or Loveland. Um, the of threw me off here. I have Schultz decently high. I have Schultz at 18. I guess it's not decently high. I have Fannin here at 13, and I have Loveland at 22. If Komet's out, you could consider it. I still think you go with Fannin, though. I would go with Fannin. Tyler said Dowdle or Mason tonight. I'm going with Dowdle. Mason or Quentin Johnston to flex. I would go with Quentin Johnston over Mason. Um, if you want to say floor, you go Mason. If you want a ceiling, I'd go Quentin Johnston. I could see Quentin Johnston having a big night tonight. I don't see Mason having a big night. I think Mason can have a good night, not a big night. Unless Aaron Jones is really just like not really in the game plan tonight at all. That's kind of how I view it. Jared Fortin said Fannin or Schultz. No Nico Collins. Yeah, I'm still going with Fannin. Still going with Fannin there. KJ said, should I drop Henderson for Alec Pierce or Xavier Legette? I wouldn't. I don't know. I'm not. I mean, if it was going to be one of these guys, it'd be Alec Pierce, because he's in a much better offense. But I don't know. I mean, you're going to find Alec Pierce's and Xavier Legette's on waivers every single week. I mean, they're going to be guys every week. Some guy is going to pop up because more wide receivers on the field. There's opportunities, right? Running backs are harder to find. And Henderson's been bad, and I advocated on Player Profiler this week. Like, Henderson's approaching cut status, and I'm okay with it if you want to cut him, but I'm not cutting him for either of these guys. I mean, these guys are players that you're gonna find on waivers every week. If you're dead set on it, it's Alec Pierce for me. He's in a great offense. I don't trust Xavier Legette at all. Scott, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Good to see you. It's been a little bit. Bronson said McBride need a tight end, start Ingram, Schultz, or Otten. I'm starting Otten. I got Otten as my tight end 6. I screwed up this week. I'm in a really competitive league and I need a tight end so bad. And I I let Kate Otten. I didn't even know he was on waivers. I didn't see him. And he got picked up for like $2. And I'm over here picking up Noah Fant. I don't even know how I made that mistake, but I'm over here picking up Noah Fant for like 3 fab, and Kate Otten's getting picked up for $1. And in no world would I ever tell somebody Noah Fant could be okay. It's why I picked him up, because of the Flacco and him connection. But I'm pissed off, man. Pissed off. John, just Judkins. I'm assuming, yeah, Judkins must start. Yeah, Judkins must start. I mean, you can't bench him right now. I mean, he's too hot. At a half point PPR, like, he's not catching the ball. He's not a guy that's catching the ball a ton either. So that's more of a benefit to him that it's half PPR. So yeah, you're not benching Judkins. Connor said Jane Daniels for Marion Hampton. I mean, injured guy for injured guy. It really depends. Um, uh, sorry. It really depends. I mean, I just traded Jaden Daniels and Rico Dowdle for Justin Herbert in a league that I need to win. It depends what you're moving this for. Like, are you moving Daniels? Like, what's the goal here? I mean, do you need a running back and you're a good record and a big good backup quarterback, and you're just saying, hey, like, I can live with Hampton like not playing for another 2 weeks. Like, if that's the case, then sure. Um, but I don't know. I mean, I love Hampton's schedule at the back end of the year. It just really depends on who you have as your backups. So before this show, I mean, like I said, I had a long, long day, and then getting ready to do my prep for the show. I'm watching some tape from these past games. I put up like a post on Twitter of like, some of my favorite sacks on the week from last week, and just kind of grinding, doing what I do. And my wife's got a new desk chair that comes in, and I promised her that I would put the desk chair together, of course. And so it's kind of like if you're a guy and you go to like freaking IKEA and you just know it's a nightmare. Like, it's coming. You're sitting there with the Allen wrench trying to tighten shit up, and you keep dropping it, and you gotta keep twisting around, and you drop it, and twisting around and drop it. And I told my wife, I was like, dude, like I only have until X amount of time because I still got to finish up my updating my rankings. I got to finish getting prepped. I got to do the show. And it went so much longer than I expected. And then, of course, what do I get when I'm on the show here? My wife is not happy with her new desk chair. Can't win. Can't win. So that's good. That's good. Anyway, let's see where we're at with questions, and then I'm gonna shift to kind of just sharing the full rankings for each position. We'll go through it together. Um, Exclusive Evo currently have Wanda Robinson over Waddle. Matchup for Waddle makes me nervous. What do you think? Swap him in. I like Waddle over Wandale this week. I do like Wandale, but I'm not as high on Wandale as other people are. This week, not to say I'm not playing him. I have Waddle at 25. I have Waddle at 17 still. Um, Matchup is going to be what it's going to be. They're indoors, which is huge, and there's just not a lot of target competition. Darren Waller's done. You have no Tyreek Hill, and the rest of those pieces are shit. I mean, it's just the truth. And I have a feeling that Mike McDaniels is going to try to pull some rabbits out of his hat. Well, whether that's going to look good or not, probably not. But we'll see how it goes. Drew said, just came in here, want to say, Pete, love your DST every week. I know it takes a lot, and you have a family. I appreciate it, Drew. Yeah, look, I mean, if I couldn't do this, I wouldn't do it. I enjoy doing it, and I appreciate the support. It's been awesome. It's been a really fun last year and a half, 2 years that I've been doing this. And if it wasn't for you guys showing up and supporting, I wouldn't do it. So I appreciate it, and thankfully, I'm blessed. I have a great life. My wife is very, very cool with me doing this stuff. I think she probably prefers so that I get away from her because I probably just annoy the crap out of her. I'm blessed. I work from home, so my full time job, like I don't have to. If I was commuting an hour home, an hour there, like I don't know how much I'd want to come on and grind these shows, but it's a lot of fun, and you guys make it enjoyable. The support's appreciated. So thank you for that comment. Tyler said, yo, came to YouTube. What's up, man? Good to see you. Thank you so much. Said, flex Jordan Mason or Johnson. So I actually I think Tyler, so I did answer this. I would start Johnston. If you want ceiling, I'd play Mason if you want floor. That's the best way I can put it. Matt said thoughts on Josh Reynolds being a sneaky start if Tyrod's playing and Wilson misses. Maybe. I mean, I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it. I think Jalen Noel is the guy I'm targeting. I'm in some really tough spots in the 14-man league. I got a ton of buys. I have potentially Terry not playing, no Garrett Wilson probably. I have Gibbs on a buy and JSN on a buy in a short bench 14-man league, and I'm starting Jalen Noel and possibly Marvin Mims. I prefer both of those guys over Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds definitely a solid play. But I don't know. I have a hard time with the Jets pass catchers right now if it's not Garrett Wilson. And I've Mason Taylor decently high, but Dak or Jackson Dart, I'm going with Dak. Give me a high scoring game. Denver's going to do their thing, but I mean it's just so hard to not play him. I have him as quarterback 9 right now. Dart or Rodgers. I'm playing Dart over Rodgers. I have Dart at 12. I have Rodgers at 16. Both playing some good defenses. I worry Dart could kind of throw up on himself a little bit. I think the Eagles are going to smack them around a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. But the rushing upside with his legs is just too good. But Fangio seeing the same quarterback, you know, twice in a row is it's sketchy, man. But his legs have been giving us a good floor, so it's hard not to play him. So I have him at 12. I don't think it's gonna look pretty, but I have him at 12. Um, Peyton said Kincaid or Gadsden. This is close. I have Kincaid at 8. I have Gadsden at 7. Asher said, also come here from YouTube. Appreciate that, man. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not already. Said, if Nico Collins is out, which is most likely would you rather play? Troy Franklin, Schultz, Mims, Josh Reynolds. Well, we just talked about Mims and Josh Reynolds. I prefer Mims over Franklin. I think Mims is becoming a guy that they can trust a little bit more. Franklin's had some drops and he did have the touchdown off the deflection, which was great. I think Mims could have a sneaky week. I think ultimately, though, I think you'd probably go with Dalton Schultz here. Target share's been there. He's a safer floor. If you want the ceiling, I'm going with Marvin Mims, though. Um, Henry, Schultz, Jonnu, Jawan. I'm going with Henry. I'm not as high on Henry this week as others are. I have him at 16. I have Schultz at 18. I have Jawan Johnson at 20. And I have Jonnu Smith at 21. Dodrick said, should I trade Cam Scatterby for J.K. Dobbins and Nico Collins? My other running backs is Gibbs, Williams, and Brown. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would do this pretty easily. I mean, Dobbins has been like a solid back. You're also getting a lot of upside with Nico. You're buying him low right now. I love Scatterby. I really do. But this is a lot to pass up. You're taking a downgrade at running back, but I mean that's a massive upgrade with Nico. And if Nico's healthy, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna miss this week. Of course, it's been tough to watch that offense, but I'm doing this trade for sure. Um, Peyton said Gadsden or Kincaid. I answered this one. I don't know if it's from. Oh, it was from you, but you asked on Twitter and you came over to YouTube. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. But yeah, I would go with Gadsden. Chase Brown or Wandale Robinson for flex. I'm starting Chase Brown against the Jets. I'm starting Chase Brown against the Jets. I think they might have something going there a little bit. And I think that the Bengals might push that ball. And I think Brown could have a good game. So I like Brown. MM90 said, T. Johnson, should I start him over Rico? I don't know if that's Theo Tyler Johnson. Who's the wide receiver from the Bucks? Why am I forgetting his name? What am I missing here, guys? Uh, Tez Johnson. What the fuck? Why did dude, I was thinking like I thought Tyler Johnson. I don't know why I was all over the place there. No, I'm going with Rico. I'm going with Rico. It's a great matchup. He's still been good. Got a lot of touches last week. I'm going with Rico. And he played well with the touches 3 weeks in a row now. 3 weeks in a row. MDGN said start Ladd, Sutton, Addison, Tet, leaning Ladd and Addison, but double Thursday. No, I'm starting Sutton. I have my wide receiver 6. I have Ladd as my wide receiver 13. I have Addison as my wide receiver 19. But I'm starting Sutton and Ladd. I have one flex taken by Bijan, blah blah blah, who I feel beat out my wide receivers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're starting all three of those backs. Yeah, you're starting all three of those backs. Tyler said Jordan Mason, Quentin Johnson, Killer, JCM for the flex. Um, I mean, it's between Kittle and Mason. We talk and Johnson. I guess I'm not high on Corey. Set opportunities, and it's just not happening right now. And the quarterback situation is tough this week with Mariota. I think Mariota is going to be better than people expect, but still, I'm not super high on Corey. I've Kittle at 3. You know, Kittle and Mason are both similar, like floor plays. I would go with Kittle, man. Like after last week, coming back first game, not a single catch. Like that ain't happening again. I would go with Kittle. I would go with Kittle. If you want like in between, we're a little bit higher risk. Uh, higher risk but higher ceiling. Johnson would be like the second guy I would start. And if you want the safest play out of all of them, it's Jordan Mason, of course. It's a good matchup for Mason. You know the touches are going to be there. If you don't want to risk it, I would go with Mason, but ultimately that's kind of how I view those three guys. Blurry said start 3 Igbuka, AJ Brown, Higgins, Pickens, Johnston. Yeah, I'm definitely starting Pickens. I'm definitely starting Igbuka. So those two guys between AJ Higgins, and Johnson. I'm not starting Johnson, but AJ might not play. I mean, I don't think he's gonna play. He's got a hamstring injury, and he's already missed, 2 all week practice. But if he plays, I'm going with AJ. I actually happen to have AJ in my top 10. I have met 8, but I don't think he plays. So, but I would rather start Higgins over Johnston. I have Higgins at 15, Johnson at 16. So you can realistically, you can live with Johnston playing tonight and not being able to use him if AJ's down, because I still prefer Higgins over Johnston. So I would go with Buka. I would go with Pickens. I would go with Higgins. So appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. Um, let's see where we are on the chat. And if you guys are here, make sure you like and subscribe. Appreciate it. It would very much help us out. We'll take a little sip of this beer here. Let me text my wife real quick and answer her and tell her that I need her to order our food. Okay. Jeff G, what's going on? Said, should I start Jordan Love or Herbert as quarterback? I'm starting Herbert. I'm starting Herbert for sure. Are we trusting Lamar? It depends what other options you got. It's hard to, I mean, if he's healthy, it's hard to put him on the bench. Mr. Sammy said, should I stay put with this core or try to make some trades? Have Sutton, Laddick, Buka, Hunter, and Waddle. I mean, if you could package up Waddle and Hunter for something like really, really good, like I mean, I would be cool with that. I mean, Sutton and Ladd, and it's actually funny. I have Ladd, Sutton, and Igbuka as 3 guys in my league with Hunter. Actually, I don't have Waddle, but I actually have all 4 of these guys as well. So interesting, but yeah, I mean, I would not be moving Sutton, Ladder, Buka. I would try to see if maybe you can get something good with Hunter and Waddle packaged up. Either a tier up, maybe you take whoever the person prefers between Waddle and Hunter. I would try to move Hunter over Waddle and just take Hunter and maybe I like Igbuka more than Lad. And I like Sutton more than Igbuka. But I rank it as Igbuka, Sutton, Lad, rest of the season right now. I would try to maybe package up Lad with Hunter, if you can get a clear upgrade, or if you need help at like running back or something right now. Dudrick said Kyle Pitts or Kelsey this week and rest of the season. Ooh, rest of season's hard. I don't know. I don't really have the schedules in front of me, but I do have Travis Kelsey ahead of Pitts 1 spot this week. Love Pitts against Miami. That could also change for me. There's a world where I move Pitts ahead. You know what? Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, they're back to back. Pitts against Miami is tough to not do. It's just you worry if Atlanta's crushing them, but you could also say the same thing about the Chiefs. They might be smashing Washington as well. So you got that little change here on the fly. I'm going to move Pitts to 9 and Kelsey to 10. But rest of season, I'm going to go with Kelsey. I just trust the offense more right now. Even though they have playmakers back, I'm still going to go with Kelsey rest of the season. Bronson said need 3 flex, DeAndre Swift, Merritt, Ramondre, Dowdle, Ingram, and Schultz. I'm going with Dowdle for sure. I'm going with Swift. And then I'm going with Ramondre over Merritt. It's really about Ingram, Schultz, or Ramondre. I would go with Ramondre over Ingram and Schultz. You have give me the workhorse running back and Ramondre right now over Ingram and Schultz, where Ingram's actually, like I think I read something from Coop Fiasco, buddy of mine, and I think since Ingram's been back, he's number 2 in targets this year, right now for tight ends since returning from injury. Kind of interesting. It's not really translating to many points, but maybe this is a coming out party for Ingram this week against Dallas. I don't know. But I would still start Ramondre over Ingram and Schultz, and I would go with Ramondre, Dowdle, and Swift. Give me the workhorse running back in Ramondre. Chargers or Green Bay Packers DST. Man, this is tough. And I don't know, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see the inactives for tonight. Let me see if I can find that really quick. Um, Let me see if it was posted yet. Let's see. Okay, the Vikings Dare Show is active. Brian Neal is not. So Dare Show being active, maybe on a pitch count. I'm fine. I think Dare Show is going to play. Joe Alt is active. That's huge, 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 huge news. But yeah, I'm going with Green Bay. I Green Bay at 9. I have Denver at 10, and I have Chargers at 11. If Darashaw was out, I would have put the Chargers ahead of Denver. But I'm gonna go with I will go with Green Bay here. Ramondre or Waddle. I'm going with Waddle. If you want a safe play, go with Stevenson. But if you want the ceiling, you got to go with Waddle. Judkins, Olave, Javonte Swift. I'm going with Judkins, Olave, and Javonte. Jeff said, which one would you bench? Ladd, Troy Franklin, George Pickens. Yeah, I mean you're benching Troy Franklin, Jeff. Don't overthink that. Dak or Drake May. So I just want to verify here real quick. Yeah, I have Drake May at 7. I have Dak at 9. I feel pretty good about that. Only concern is, better defense that Drake May's playing against. Sorry, a better defense that Dak's playing against, but I trust that game will be higher scoring and competitive. There's a world where that Drake May Cleveland game, it could be a grinding out game. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to run in Cleveland for the Patriots as much. So that's why I think Drake May is going to have to get stuff done with his legs. So that's why I like him more. And he'll have to get things done in the pass game. Currently have Wanda Robinson over Waddle matchup. Waddle makes me nervous. Would you swap him in? No, I'm going with Waddle. I answered this before. I'm going with Waddle. Mamba, what's up, man? Good to see you from Twitter. I said I got Atlanta defense and Pats defense. Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots over Atlanta, but they're back to back. I mean, Atlanta's 3, Patriots are 2. Cleveland's getting the ball out quick. So there's a world where it's like not as juicy of a start. They could be disappointing. Yeah, it's just tough, man. I mean, Pat's defense played good. They're coming back home. Miami's playing in a dome. Pats are a little riskier because Cleveland's getting the ball out quick. But I'm still gonna go with the Pats. Just gonna go with my gut there. Leighton McQueen said, should I start Addison, QJ, Woody Marks, or Chase Brown the flex? I would go with Jordan Addison. Huge shout out to DST Rankings every week. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Tyler, what's going on, man? Appreciate you too, man. Thank you for jumping in. Daniel said, hey, good evening. Need one flex PPR, Golden, Pollard, Scary Terry, John Jennings, Gadsden. Shoot, man, that's tough. I would go with Gadsden. I would go with Gadsden over these guys. there's a world where Gadsden, got hyped up so much that he ends up turning in a shitty day. Um, but yeah, yeah, I would go with Gadsden. And if you don't feel confident in Gadsden, I'm going with Tony Pollard. That hurts to say, but I'm going with Tony Pollard. It's a division game. He's had some good games against the Colts in the past. I would go with Pollard in that situation if you don't want to go with Gadsden. Drew said, for DST, I know you have Cincinnati above Chargers. The difference being Minnesota is obviously better than the Jets. Wondering if I should still roll with the Chargers and hold for yeah, I mean, you know your matchup better than I do, but I mean that Chargers matchup against Tennessee next week is super juicy. I would just maybe roll out the Chargers, man. Chargers against on Thursday Night Football. We talked about it. That's why we dropped the Steelers down in the rankings because Thursday Night Football has just been bad for defenses lately. Derek Shaw's in. So I don't think we're going to get that ceiling like we hoped, but also keep in mind, both of these offenses are giving up a lot of sacks. Vikings have given up a lot of sacks. Wentz is averaging like 4 a game. So that gives me some hope. So I think I would start with start the Chargers. If you can't hold both, with them, the anticipation of them playing the Tennessee Titans next week. Steve said Calvin Austin. No, not against the Packers. I would start Jalen Noel or Marvin Mims over Austin if you can. Matt Tate said, would you consider starting Brashard Smith or Schultz over? Consider it. I would. Would I do it? Probably not for Smith. I could consider it for Schultz. I think I'd probably go with Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, but it's close. I would consider for Schultz. I wouldn't consider for Smith just yet. Would you trade Tet and Bill for Garrett Wilson? Yeah, I would. If you have the depth, like if you can move a running back, I'd much rather Garrett Wilson over Tet. I mean, the concern with Wilson is, this offense is kind of sinking right now, and he's got an injury, right? So you're trading for an injured player, which I hate doing, unless you have the depth. If you have the depth, I would do it. I have Bills in Kansas City in 2 leagues. Would you drop them for the Bengals? They're back to back in your rankings. Yeah, I would start the Bengals ahead of both of these defenses. The Chiefs are the safest defense of the 3, but the Bengals have the highest ceiling. I think Mariota can be competent and can be solid against the Chiefs. Peyton said, "What are your thoughts on the Titans wide receivers this season? DK, Ridley, IU Manor, Jefferson." Yeah, I mean it's IU Manor still. I think Ridley's second. I think DK's third, and Van Jefferson stinks. Do you have a super chat from Cooler Hand? Appreciate it. Said QJ tonight or Tet PPR. I would go with Quentin Johnston. Yeah, I would go Quentin Johnson over Tet. I have Quentin Johnson at 16. I have Tet at 21. If you know the show, if you know me, big Tet fan. But I would go with Quentin Johnson. Appreciate that. Let's see. Rodgers or Flacco? Can't believe I'm asking this. Well, it's a real question. I have both of these guys decently high this week. Rodgers at 16, I have Flacco at 14. I would start Joe Flacco. Starting Keenan this week, yeah. I mean, probably starting all Chargers pass catchers, depending. Definitely Lad, but depends who you have. Sosa, depends who you have. But I think Keenan's a guy you can start this week. SWL boat said, choose 2 half PPR: Matthew Golden, Tajay Spears, Josh Downs, and Rondé Gadsden. Josh Downs had some good games against the Titans, man. I would start Josh Downs over Matthew Golden. I just would, man. Like we keep waiting for this to happen with Golden. Golden's reminding me a little bit of Trevor Henderson and Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, where we're just forcing it and we haven't seen it yet. And I said it with Travis Hunter last week, and I ate my words. I'll say it again, and maybe this is some good luck if you are starting Matthew Golden, but I'll wait to see the breakout before I get him in my lineup. He's not giving us enough of a floor right now, and he hasn't done enough to have him in my lineup. I'm starting Josh Downs and Gadsden out of these 2, out of these 4 guys. Stipular Mello said, trade away Travis Etienne or Kamara. Keenan and Bill for Jettas and want. Yeah, I mean, shoot, yeah, I would. ETN's trending down right now. I mean, if you could move Kamara, I'd actually rather move ETN with Kendra Miller gone. Devin Neal, we'll see if he can do it. I liked Devin Neal in college coming out. But yeah, I would trade Travis Etienne. Um, so I need to know it's ETN plus Keenan and Bill. So you're moving all three of these assets. I'm still doing it. Um, yeah, I'm still doing it. I'm doing it. And you're getting Wandell in addition to it. I would move ETN. That's fine. ETN's in a better offense, but with Kendra Miller going down, Kamara could be a nice play rest of the season. Alfredo said, "No way we bench CD right despite going up against PSD. Do you still feel confident in his targets?" I do. I'm not benching CD Lamb. I have CD Lamb at 3, and I know it's crazy, and this comes from a Broncos fan. I think there's a world where they're going to get him in the slot, and get him off of Patrick Surtain, and there's a world where Pat Surtain covers Pickens more. I think they're going to move Lamb around to get that matchup changed. But CeeDee Lamb still CeeDee Lamb at 3. I got him there. There's a world where probably one of these guys is not a stud. Um, you know, but yeah, I know you're a Broncos fan, Fredo. But yeah, I would still put C. You can't bench CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he's just so good. I don't care. I'll live and die with it, man. I'll live and die with it. If I'm wrong and CeeDee Lamb sucks this week, whatever, man. Like, he's a stud that you don't bench. I mean, right now, there's so little wide receivers that are strong and consistent on a week by week basis right now in fantasy. I'm not sitting CeeDee Lamb at all. I'm just not doing it. And it probably bites you and whatever, but you got to have him in your lineup, man. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Another super chat from Mamba K said Waddle, Judkins, or Gadsden at the flex full PPR. Yeah, I'm going with Waddle. I'm going with Judkins. I like Gadsden, but I'm not starting him over either of those guys. Just not doing it. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much, man. Where else are we here? Sorry, guys. I lost my spot. Oh, okay. We're at Steve's. I need a sip of this beer real quick. Anyway, appreciate you guys being here tonight. We're in the middle of it, man. This is like being in the middle of baseball season, except football's so much more fun and there's less weeks, and every week feels life and death, like life and death. Fantasy baseball can be tough when you get to the middle of the season. We're kind of at this point where it's like we're grinding out wins. Some teams are dead, some teams are alive. But ultimately, we're here. And I appreciate you guys being here. And it's going to be a really fun race to the finish. I'm going to help you guys every step of the way, like I've always done, like I did last year. If you were here, I'm going to help you guys out, be here for you. It's going to be a really, really fun time these next few months. So appreciate everybody that's stopping by. Let's finish strong here. Steve said, I need to pick 2 from Mason, Bill, Austin Downs, Shepard, Davis, assuming Hall is out. Brees Hall. Did I miss something? Did I miss something, guys? Brees Hall. Limited. He does not currently have a game status listed. So I think he's gonna play. Yeah, I mean, you're going with Mason and you're going with Downs here. If there's a world that Brees doesn't play, then yeah, you're starting Isaiah Davis over Downs. But that's how I would roll. Fan and Harvey, Pearsall. I don't know. I don't think Pearsall's gonna play, man. I would go with Fannin. I'd go with Fannin. Um, Roger Flacco. I can't believe I had to ask that. Yeah, I would go with Flacco. Blur said thank you, appreciate it. Thanks for dropping in. Starting Keenan this week. Did I answer some of these? Am I going backwards? Oh, you know what? I must have skipped and went back and forth. That's probably why. Um, said Culver's or Five Guys. I gotta be honest, I've never had Culver's. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. It looks good. Um, I think they have like the cheese curds or something like that, right? Like it's pretty good. But I've never had it. I'd love to try it. Um, love to try it. Uh, yeah. Okay, so we answered this. Yeah, I felt good about that. said I have Mason Taylor, but Hunter Henry and Otten are available. Should I switch them? Yeah, I would. I like Otten. I like Otten. I would drop him for Otten. I already don't know why I just clicked that. Mamba said, glad you're streaming. Glad you came out. Appreciate that super chat from before. Uh Bell was for life, said, hey man, you rock on the D's. Question. Jordan Mason or Ramondre Stevenson. I'm gonna go with Jordan Mason. I do like Stevenson though. Solid play this week. But I'll go with Mason. Thanks for dropping in. Marks or Pollard this week. It's Pollard for me. It's Pollard for me. I'm going to show my rankings here in just a second. Um, man, that's funny. D's nuts. Maybe I missed that. I don't. I don't know. If I did, I missed the joke. I apologize. Um, let's see. We answered this one. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep pulling that up. Super Squash said pick two: Theo Johnson, Zach Ertz, Troy Franklin. I go with Zach Ertz and Franklin. Yeah, go with Zach Ertz and Franklin. We start Keenan tonight. I mean, again, it just depends. Um, Bengals the over Chiefs. Yeah, I like Bengals defense over the Chiefs. Flex edge. Good to see you, man. Uh, I have Brees Hall. I'm 3-4. Happy days. I don't know. Did you send a question before that? I don't think you sent the question before that, man. So, oh wait, no, I don't think so. So, I guess I just uh, Jets. Oh, you're just talking. Okay, you're just talking. Um, Brees Hall or J.K. Dobbins this week and rest of the season. I'm going with Brees Hall rest of the season. Yeah, I'm just coming from a Broncos fan, but I'll take Brees Hall rest of the season. Jordan Mason or Reminder Stevenson answered this already. I'll go with Mason. Um, Start two in PPR, Keenan Allen, Wando Robinson, or Waddle. I'm going with Waddle, and I would Keenan's interesting. I think I would go with Wandale. But Keenan's interesting. Yeah, I would go Keenan. I have Keenan at 24, Wandale at 25, and I have Waddle at 17. Um, Kyron Williams on a buy, full PPR, two running backs in a flex, pick three. Chase Brown, Dowdle, Marks, Pacheco, and Franklin. Um, let's see. Chase Brown, Dowdle, Marks, Pacheco. Yeah, I mean, definitely Dowdle, Chase Brown, and Pacheco. Yeah, that's how I would go with it. Go Mason. Yes, sir. Good luck. Zach Smith, Golden Franklin, or Aaron Jones for the flex. I go with Aaron Jones. Epic fail. What's up? Aaron Jones or Coleman tonight? I'm going with Aaron Jones. Ladder T. Higgins. I'm going with Lad. Franklin, DK, Noel. Who you picking up for the buyer play? Since I'm taking Noel. No, just commenting like an asshat. Don't mind you. No problem. Appreciate you in here, buddy. Josh said need to. Vidal, Fannin, Downs, Gadsden. Yeah, I'll go with Vidal and I'll go with Gadsden. Aaron Jones, Pacheco, or Kyle Monungai, I'm assuming. I would go with Aaron Jones and Pacheco. Uh, Milena said Lad, Olave, Pittman, Vidal, Chase Brown, pick one wide receiver, one flex in a standard. I'll still go with Lad. I'll still go with Olave. I like both those guys this week a ton. Now, I'm going to go overhead and show my rankings here real quick, guys, just to give you guys an idea of where I'm at currently. Give me 1 second. Now, some of these rankings are going to change, of course. I'll answer questions as you guys have them, and if you guys have questions on the rankings, you can ask them as well. So let's zoom in here. All right, so go ahead and share the screen. Okay. All right. So let me zoom in a touch more, and then maybe let me drop myself down for you. All right. So here's where I'm at with my rankings this week. And make a note for the timesheet so that way anybody rewatching this can can kind of go back. So we'll start with the quarterbacks first. Quarterbacks this week. This is kind of how I have my rankings sitting at the moment. I have Mahomes. He's been on fire. I have Patrick Mahomes there at number one. Then I have Josh Allen at number two. I have Lamar Jackson at three. If Lamar plays, I mean, you gotta play him. I know people talked, and I had a question before that said, do what do you feel about Lamar Jackson? You're playing Lamar Jackson. Jalen Hurts against the Giants. I like Jalen Hurts. That passing game's picking up. Bo Nix against the Dallas Cowboys. I have him at five. I think that's going to be a really high scoring game. Baker Mayfield here at six against the Saints. Like that matchup a ton. Let me inch down. I guess I'd give a little bit of a tease here. You don't see who's at 12. It's Jackson Dart, the guy of the hour, the guy that everybody keeps talking about. Jackson Dart there. But Baker Mayfield at six against the Saints. Against the Saints. Um, Freaking Baker, man. I mean, he's looking like a guy that's gonna, probably be in that MVP case again this year. So I mean, Baker Mayfield's been a stud. I got him at six against the Saints. Drake May, against Cleveland. It's a tougher defense matchup, but Ramondre Stevenson's not gonna have the lanes that he saw last week. This is one of the toughest run defenses, if not the toughest. And so I have Drake May at seven here. I think he's gonna throw the football a good bit here, and he's going to use his legs. So I have Drake May at seven. Daniel Jones at eight, man. Holy shit. I want to put him even higher. You want to talk about guys that are in the MVP conversation. I mean, Daniel Jones has been a freaking stud. Stud, stud, stud. Michael said, appreciate your time. Love your show. One of the best. Helped me so much. Well, appreciate that, Michael. Thank you so much, man. Brock, I see your question. I'm going to get to it in a second. Happy Day said you're making his head spin because it must be a tough question. I will get to it in just a second. I'm gonna just get through some of these and then we'll take a break, answer that question for you. Yeah, Daniel Jones against Tennessee. I mean, I think Daniel Jones is gonna be phenomenal in that matchup. Dak Prescott against Denver. I'm a little slower, higher scoring game. Denver's defense is gonna be good. They're gonna do what they do. But I think it's going to be a back and forth, high scoring game. If Denver's defense locks this offense down, I think they're going to lock pretty much most offenses down. But man, this is a tough matchup. Two alpha wide receivers. Denver's defense has not played an offense this good all year with these kinds of weapons. Let's see. Justin Herbert, number 10, against Minnesota. I honestly almost want to move Herbert above Dak. I think I'm going to do that live while we're here. And I think I'm going to move Herbert above Daniel Jones. I'll move him to 8. And I think I might move him even one spot higher. I'll move him above Drake May at 7. He's got Joe Alt back. When I did these rankings, I didn't know if Alt was going to be back. Pipkins and Alt are back. So I'm going to roll with that. I got some inactive players in my lineup, so that means I got to make some moves there. But yeah, so while you're hearing this now, Justin Herbert's moved up in front of Drake May to 7. Everybody slides down. You're watching this live before Thursday Night Football, and the inactives came out while we were live, so that definitely changes things for me. Jordan Love at 11 against the Steelers. That offense, I think they're going to start running the football more. But I think ultimately Love's been playing really, really good football. So I'll have him here at 11. I think he's a balanced play this week. Jackson Dart, high ceiling, low floor. kind of not that low of a floor. I think he could throw up on himself. That's really the biggest concern here. But the legs are giving him a good floor. But it could be a really, really gross game. Caleb Williams here at 13. I'm below consensus on Caleb Williams. I get it. He's playing Baltimore. Baltimore coming off a bye. I'm not high in the defense, but also I think the Bears are going to want to run the football. They've been running it successfully lately. Joe Flacco here at 14 against the New York Jets. A little bit of a revenge game. And I like Joe Flacco in that matchup. Then you have Michael Penix against Miami. Yeah, I have Flacco ahead of Penix. Crazy enough. I think that I think Atlanta's going to run the heck out of the football. Aaron Rodgers at 16 against Green Bay. Like this matchup for Rodgers. Green Bay's defense is kind of fugazi a little bit. And you also just have Rodgers who's been playing on a heater right now. Marcus Mariota here at 17 against Kansas City. Then you have the CJ Stroud led Houston Texans at home versus San Francisco at 18. Carson Wentz at 19 versus the Chargers tonight. Mac Jones at 20 right now against the Houston Texans. Spencer Rattler at 21. Andy Dalton at 22. Tyrod Taylor 23. Tua Tagovailoa at 24. Don't need to really go into too much analysis there. But that's what I have right now for the quarterback rankings. Now let's go ahead and check the question that we had here in the chat. I think we had two, so let's answer those and then we'll get back to the next one here. Take a little sip of beer. Brock Long said, I have Gibbs, Brees Hall, Jalen Warren, Brashad Smith, RJ Harvey for my running backs. And then I have Rice, London, Pickens, Judy, Coker for wide receivers. Do I trade Drake London and Brees for A-Chain and Terry McLaurin? No. No. I mean, London and London and A-Chain are pretty close to a wash. A-Chain maybe a little bit better. Brees is still a solid upgrade over Terry, in my opinion. It's harder to find running backs than it is wide receivers. So I would go with Brees. And I wouldn't make that trade. Fantasy Football Dad said, "Man, I want to start the Bengals, but I can't keep the Chargers." And I would just roll with the Chargers. I'd roll with the Chargers. They get Darashaw back, but you know that matchup next week is really juicy, and I think the Chargers are going to get sacks. They're going to give up points. You just got to hope that they get home. That's really the biggest thing for them this week. Let's see. I know Brock and Happy Days are chatting in the chat. Appreciate that. And guys, like the show, subscribe if you're not already. Appreciate everybody that's came out and supported. We got tons of content coming out every single week. So very much appreciate the support that we've gotten. Happy Days becoming a little bit of a staple here. So appreciate you in the chat, my man. Let's go ahead and move over to the next set of rankings here, and that's going to be the running back rankings. So let me make sure I note that we're switching over. Again, I am a one-man show tonight. So running back rankings, and let's go ahead and shift over there. And here we go. So running back rankings, you started off here with Jonathan Taylor versus the Tennessee Titans. I mean, hat trick last week. Jonathan Taylor's been super, super good. Bijan Robinson against Miami. It's a smash matchup. I mean, everybody's just absolutely bending over the Miami Dolphins defense, especially running backs right now. So I love that matchup as well. And then I have Christian McCaffrey here against the Houston Texans. McCaffrey, a little bit of a pop game last week. George Kittle moving the run game. They looked much better on the ground. Love McCaffrey in that matchup. Derrick Henry here at number 4 against the Chicago Bears with Lamar Jackson back. I think Derrick Henry's a great buy low right now if you can get him. I tried to tell guys to buy him low last week with the buy and the frustrations with the offense. I think Derrick Henry's got a good schedule coming up. So I have Derrick Henry here at 4. Then you have Josh Jacobs here at number 5. He's going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like that matchup. James Cook here at number 6 going up against Carolina Panthers. Saquon Barkley against the Giants, another kind of revenge game in some sort of way. I think they get right, and it's been really tough for Saquon this year. I don't even think he's looked bad. It's tough. Brock, I see you in the chat, man. Thank you so much, brother. Really, really appreciate that. Devon Achane against Atlanta Falcons. Achane, I mean, the floor is so high with the receptions. No Darren Waller, no Tyreek Hill. You just gotta assume that Achane's gonna freaking just eat with the receptions. Quinshon Judkins against the Patriots. I mean, I expect them to try to run the football. They're not really getting very far throwing it. They're going to try to control the game, control the clock. Quinshon Judkins on fire. Just roll him out there. He's a stud. Javonte Williams, I have here at 10 against Denver. A little bit below consensus. Consensus has him somewhere around 7-6 or 7. I think Denver, no Greg Greenlaw. A little bit of a revenge game for Javonte. I think that they hold them off. I'm actually a little more worried about the pass game than I am the run game this week. Cam Scadaboo, number 11 against Philadelphia Eagles. Have him here a little bit below consensus on Scat as well. Still a good matchup for him. Rashad White going up against the Saints. Have him here at 12. Then you have Breece Hall at 13 going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll see if that knee holds up. But again, Isaiah Davis has been a guy that people have been stashing in the possibility that Hall gets traded. Now you have the potential injury. I do think Hall ends up playing, though. DeAndre Swift at 14 going up against Baltimore Ravens. Swift has been phenomenal. I mean, super, super good. So I got to give him props. I mean, I have not been a big fan of DeAndre Swift. I was very vocal. I thought they should have brought somebody else in, but Nungai looks good too. I think they're going to lean on this run game. So I have Swift here at 14. Chase Brown. Got to talk about Chase Brown here because for me, this was a guy that I talked about as a buy low. Looked good last week. Best game of the season for him. I just running the football wise. I think this offense is on the up and up. So I'm excited to see how that looks. But I have Chase Brown here at number 15. J.K. Dobbins at 16 versus Dallas. Expecting points. I don't expect them to catch a bunch of passes, but I do think Denver has to start giving Dobbins more touches here to balance out this offense. Rico Dowdle at 17 against Buffalo. Great matchup for him. Jaylen Warren continues to just be super, super efficient and catching passes against Green Bay at 18. 19, Alvin Kamara against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kendre Miller. We'll see Devin Neal. We're expecting him to step up, is what they're saying. We'll see. He's a rookie, but I think Alvin Kamara's arrow is going up right now. Kamani Vidal against the Minnesota Vikings at 20. They play tonight. Jordan Mason at 21 going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. Aaron Jones at 22 going up against the Los Angeles Chargers back-to-back. Isaiah Pacheco at 23 against Washington. Ramondre Stevenson at 24 against the Cleveland Browns. Tony Pollard at 25. So you're not seeing these rankings, but Tony Pollard at 25 against the Indianapolis Colts. Tyler Algier, I have at 26 against the Miami Dolphins. Chuba Hubbard, I have at 27 against Buffalo. And Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is behind them at 28 versus Kansas City. Woody Marks at 29 versus San Francisco. And Kyle Monangai at 30 against the Baltimore Ravens. Let's go ahead and take a break. Let me check out the chat real quick, see what we have. Some questions. Mooney or Tez Johnson? I have Mooney this week. I like Mooney's matchup. I think. Let me actually verify that real quick. Oh my gosh. You got to love these questions. Darnell Mooney is my wide receiver 40. Tez Johnson's my wide receiver 41. I'm going to go with Darnell Mooney, though, against Miami. I don't know, man. For some reason, this offense really likes Darnell Mooney. So I would go with Darnell Mooney. Epic Fail said Dobbins or Keenan Allen. I'll go with Dobbins over Keenan. Connor Davis said, would it be bad to start QJ and Vidal on the same team? I could start Stevenson instead. No, I think you're good. QJ and Vidal is fine. I like that. So I answered this already, but I would say Noel. Love Noel. I try to pick him up as many spots as possible. I'm a big fan of him. He looked good last week. He's got the last two games he's looked good. No Christian Kirk, probably. I think. I don't know if he's officially ruled out. Nico Collins probably not playing either. So that's kind of where I'm at there. Let's go ahead and move over to my wide receiver rankings. Let me just make a note here. Okay. Let's go ahead and move over to the wide receiver rankings. Let's slide over. And by the way, it says half PPR on these. This is PPR rankings for me. It's a long story, but Fantasy Pros kind of requires you to do half PPR rankings. These are in PPR though, so just keep that in mind if you're watching. But wide receiver rankings here. I have Jamar Chase as my wide receiver one. I have Justin Jefferson against the Chargers as my wide receiver two. CeeDee Lamb at three against Denver. We talked about it. I think he's going to get moved around a decent amount, and I think there's a chance he plays in the slot. They're going to find ways to get him open, quick targets. It's CeeDee Lamb, guys. I mean, I love Patrick Surtain, but I think there's a good chance Lamb is gonna get matched up on other players. Rashee Rice here at number four against the Washington Commanders. Love the spot for him. He's just looks like a target monster. Drake London at five against the Miami Dolphins. I mean, not much to say here. Dolphins defense is dog doo-doo. Cortland Sutton at six. That might be a surprise to some of you. Goes against Dallas Cowboys. He's been phenomenal this year. Cortland Sutton. Love this matchup against Dallas. It's a get right game, I think, for Denver's offense. We saw that breakout at the last quarter, but ultimately, I think this is a get right game for them. Emeka Egbuka, you got here at number seven. No Mike Evans for the rest of the year, unfortunately. No Chris Godwin. No Bucky Irving. Emeka Egbuka is a stud. Fire him up. AJ Brown, we'll see if he plays. He's going up against the Giants. Got the hamstring injury, but Giants run a lot of man coverage, and AJ Brown is very, very good against man. Zay Flowers at 9 against the Chicago Bears. I think it's a good spot for Zay. Again, just like Derrick Henry, I've been trying to buy Zay Flowers with the dip in Lamar plus the bye week. People probably pretty frustrated, and got him here at 9 against Chicago. Like the spot for him. If I'm assuming Lamar plays. Then I have here Roma Dunze at 10 against Baltimore. Roma's been disappointing. Hoping for a bounce back here. Really like the matchup. Good spot for him. DK Metcalf at 11 versus Green Bay. DK's been pretty much lone soldier at the wide receiver position in terms of targets. Like the spot for him. Chris Olave at 12 versus Tampa Bay. Chris Olave turned it on last week, looked really, really good. Like him here at number 12 against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are good against the run. They're going to have to throw the football. The Saints are to be effective. Ladd McConkey, got to take a little bit of victory lap here. I was huge on Ladd McConkey 4 weeks ago. I called him a buy. He's been a top 12 wide receiver the last 3 weeks. And I think he turned the corner. The targets have always been there. It's just been about the connection. Have Ladigan at 13. Think we have a good night for him in store. George Pickens at 14 against Denver. This is just one of those, the yin and the yang between him and Lamb. One of them is going to have a solid game. Just not sure who. Probably feeling much more confident with Lamb, but got to get George Pickens in your lineup. I think if he does line up against Riley Moss and Lamb maybe gets into the slot with like Jaquan McMillan, both those guys can eat. But then it's just a matter of who's Pat Surtain playing against. So then at that point, they probably deploy Pat to shadow CeeDee Lamb at that point. So we'll see what happens. But T. Higgins here at 15 against the Jets. Quentin Johnson at 16 against the Minnesota Vikings. You have Jalen Waddle at 17 against Atlanta. Xavier Worthy at 18 versus Washington. Jordan Addison at 19 versus the Chargers. Devonta Smith versus the Giants. That passing game is starting to click a little bit. Tat McMillan, I'm a little bit lower on than consensus. I have him here at 21. Michael Pittman at 22. Pittman's been freaking awesome, guys. I just bought him in a couple of spots a couple weeks ago. I actually traded Pittman for AJ Brown in a package deal. I said last week I would move Pittman for AJ straight up. I felt like I was eating my words there when AJ scored 2 touchdowns, but we also saw, the inconsistency with the amount of targets and the amount of volume that AJ got. It's just a perfect example, right? Like he is touchdown dependent right now. And Pittman's just on one of the hottest offenses in the NFL, or the hottest. Stephon Diggs at 23 against Cleveland. Keenan Allen at 24. All 3 Chargers wide receivers make my top 24 here. I'm going to go a little bit of an extendo here past these rankings that you see, and then I'll take a quick break for questions. Wanda Robinson here at 25 against the Philadelphia Eagles. I have Romeo Dobbs at 26 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rashid Shaheed against Tampa Bay at 27. Matthew Golden at 28 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Alec Pierce at 29 against the Tennessee Titans. Khalil Shakir at 30 against the Carolina Panthers. DJ Moore, 31 against Baltimore, 32, Terry McLaurin against Kansas City, Jawan Jennings at 33 versus the Houston Texans, Marvin Mims at 34 against the Dallas Cowboys, and Jalen Noel. I have him high. I have him right behind him. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I Keon Coleman right behind him at 36, Troy Flanken at 37, Keyshawn Boutte at 38, Jerry Judy at 39, and Kendrick Bourne at 40. If Ricky Pearsall plays, Kendrick Bourne will drop below Darnell Mooney and Tez Johnson. Some of these guys are dealing with some injuries, so we'll see. If they're good to go, they'll probably bump up. So we shall see. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at. And there's a lot of really gross wide receivers that are pretty high because we got a lot of buys this week, fellas, or folks, gals, girls, gentlemen, gals, guys and gals, guys and gals. Let's check out the chat real quick here. What do we got? What do we got? Min Ofa said, sorry, not sure if you answered this already, but why is Bengals so high? Are they really that the starter? Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, look, if you feel, I always tell people this, like, I can't make the decisions for you. I can try my best to give you educated advice, and try to, try to steer you in the right direction, but you should go with your gut at all times. I like the Bengals defense. The Jets are giving up a ton of sacks. That offense is putrid, no matter who is out there. And, even if Fields runs around and has a good game, like, I don't think it's going to amount to a ton of yards and a ton of points for them. It might amount to a good fantasy day because he gets yards with his legs, but it's not going to do much. So they're high on my sack risk this week. I think they're like number one, or they're in the top three, I think. And so I like the matchup for the Bengals a lot. But again, go with your gut. Brock said London just scares me because of Penix. Obviously, he's a must start whenever Mooney plays. Penix a whole different. Yeah, it feels weird when Mooney plays. I don't understand. Epic Fail said, does Pickens get Surtain this week? It's a good question. If I mean, Surtain's not going to play on Jalen Tolbert, right? I mean, if you have CeeDee Lamb in the slot, Surtain's probably not going to play CeeDee Lamb in the slot unless it's man coverage, and he shadows him, and that's where he winds up being at the snap. But I think Pickens is probably going to line up on Riley Moss a decent amount, and Surtain is going to play on CeeDee Lamb on the snaps that he's outside when they're in zone coverage. But ultimately, there's a chance that Jaquan McMillan plays on CeeDee Lamb a decent amount, so that'll be an interesting matchup. We'll see. I could be completely wrong. Denver might just say we're just going to put Pat Surtain against PS2, Pat Surtain against CeeDee Lamb. Oh gosh, long show. Long day, long show. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, you're starting both guys either way. Just kind of gotta roll the dice. Connor said Aronde or Kincaid. I got Aronde over Kincaid. Vidal or Dowdle. I got Dowdle. Why are you so high on Vidal this week? Well, no Hassan Haskins. That's definitely one part of it. The other side of it, and let me just double check. Let's see. So last time I checked, I don't think Van Ginkel. I don't think he's playing. Let me see. Hold on. Inactives for tonight. JJ McCarthy, CJ Ham, Van Ginkel, Brian O'Neill. Yeah. So with Van Ginkel out, that's definitely a bump up for Vidal. Vidal gets back Pipkins, and he also gets back his all pro left tackle. So I know Hassan Haskins, right? So I think that's a big reason. Those are big reasons for me. The volume's going to be there. Herbert or Baker. I have Baker ahead of Herbert, but I have Otten over Mason. So you get the stack there. But I have Baker one spot ahead of Mason, ahead of Herbert. Let's go ahead and move on to my tight end rankings. let's go ahead and move on to the tight ends. All right. So tight ends, and let me just make sure I make a note here. Again, working solo, but got to make sure that the people that are watching the replay uh, are able to figure it out. My dog might bark. My wife is back with my chicken parm sub for dinner. So hopefully he does not bark. But he just got up and running back, so I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna bark. All right, tight ends here. We can go through this pretty quick, but Tyler Warren, stud. I mean, he's tight end one against Tennessee Titans. Tucker Kraft against Pittsburgh at 2. Kittle at 3 against Houston Texans. Jake Ferguson here at 4 against the Denver Broncos. Yeah, I think that's a possibility, right? Where maybe these wide receivers have trouble and Ferguson ends up being good. Dallas Goedert here at 5 against the Giants. Kate Otten at 6 versus the Saints. Rondé Gadsden at 7 versus the Minnesota Vikings. Dalton Kincaid at 8 against the Carolina Panthers. Kyle Pitts at number 9 versus the Miami Dolphins. Number 10, Travis Kelce versus the Washington Commanders. Mark Andrews at 11 against Chicago. Let's see if with Lamar back, maybe that connection's there. It wasn't great to start the year. Mason Taylor here at number 12 against the Cincinnati Bengals. A little bit of spillage there. Harold Fannin here at number 13 against the New England Patriots. I have Zach Ertz at 14 against Kansas City Chiefs. TJ Hawkinson at 15 against the Los Angeles Chargers. Hunter Henry at 16 versus the Cleveland Browns. Evan Ingram at 17 versus the Dallas Cowboys. Dalton Schultz at 18 versus San Francisco 49ers. Theo Johnson at 19 versus Philly. Jawan Johnson at 20 versus Tampa Bay. Jonnu Smith at 21 versus the Green Bay Packers. 22, Colson Loveland. Maybe Komet doesn't play. We'll see if he's limited. Isaiah Likely at 23 versus Chicago Bears, and Noah Fant at 24 versus the New York Jets. And that's what we got for that. And then I'll flash the defensive rankings here in case I have any ball knowers here that care about the defensive rankings. This is what I have so far. You guys know I always do the updates and I always make the adjustments. I'm not going to rapid fire go through all of these right now, but ultimately this is kind of where these stand today. You guys know that the DST rankings always change. Sorry, I got a little bit of the burps. The DST always changes depending on the inactives and all that stuff. I'm just doing my best, guys, to put out good actionable information, especially with the defensive stuff. But I appreciate the support. But that's where I got everybody so far. Colts at 1, Patriots at 2, Falcons at 3, Cincinnati at 4, Chiefs at 5, Bills at 6, Tampa Bay at 7, Eagles at 8. Green Bay Packers at 9, Broncos at 10, Chargers at 11. We talked about the Chargers. They do get the Titans next week. So if you are watching this and you can stash the Chargers, go ahead and do so. Cleveland Browns at 12, San Francisco at 13, Houston Texans 14, Steelers 15, Vikings 16, Giants at 17, Saints at 18, Chicago Bears at 19, Jets 20, Ravens 21, Commanders 22, Dallas Cowboys 23, and the Miami Dolphins at 24. So that's where DST lies. Answer one more question here. Connor Travis said liking Kincaid this week, but at practice today, do you think that's a sign he might be out? I think he plays coming off of a bye. He's had extended time. I don't remember seeing anything that seemed too bad for him. But that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe already to all our super chatters. Appreciate that so much. And everybody that's been in the chat, 3PC Epic Fail, Connor Davis, Brock Long. Let's see, who else can I shout? A Happy Days. Thank you so much for being in here. Mamba K, Denzel Barrett. Appreciate you being in the chat. Fantasy Football Dad, Michael Rain. Who else we have in here? Melena, Lance, Josh. Who else? Obviously, got my guy Albert, Daniel Russell, Dudrick PP. Good to see you. The Flex Edge. Appreciate you being in here as well. Stipular Mellow. Appreciate that. Sosa being in here. Super Squash. Cooler Hand with the super chat. Appreciate that, man. Oh, good to see you as well. Becoming a staple in here. Who else? SW Elbow. Good to see you too. Tyler Martinez. Thank you so much for coming over from Twitter. Blurry with the super chat. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Steve's in the house. Peyton Alonzo, exclusive EVO. Joe here. MM90. Matt Tate. Drew. Daniel. Lightning McQueen. Man, just a ton of people. Jeff G, Peyton Alonzo. I think I already said that one. SB, Chump, Bronzo. Who else? We have Mr. Sammy, Zach Linton. Could not mention Zach Linton in the house as well. So that's really pretty much it, folks. Thank you so much for being here. Jared Fortin, appreciate you as well. KJ Frederick, and Jay Dabbs and Joseph Santiago. Ryan, I'll catch you just because you asked it. And I just saw it. Quinshon Judkins, Javonte Williams, and Kamani Vidal, 10-man PPR. I would go with but I have Judkins one spot ahead of Javonte Williams. I would not play either of them over Vidal. Brock Lund said, appreciate it. Love the content. Thank you so much, man. Happy days. Keep on going. Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the night. Good luck with your plays, your fantasy teams, and I'll see you guys next.